more motors to suit the racetrack than anything else, and not worry about what other guys are doing. We know our capabilities, and we try to build our stuff to suit the racetrack. And as far as brute horsepower, in some cases we run an engine with less power than we do with one that has a lot of horsepower, because of the fact that it's easier to get the car hooked up and easier to work on the car. So there's a lot to be considered there. Still, the restriction plate is nothing but horsepower, and that's all we're going after now. But, you know, the hard thing to tell yourself is you just came back from a racetrack like Atlanta, where you tried to get all the horsepower you could possibly get to a place where you just, everything that you've ever learned about building engines is just, you're able to forget it, it's not working. It's more or less all trial and error. It takes eats up a lot of time. And I was just telling David, you know, it's kind of, running for the championship is good in one sense, but then another, it gets you behind for Daytona. Because the guys that were running, let's say they had 7th place in the points or 5th place in the points locked up in 3 races to go. They went and dedicated all their time to the restricted plate. We had to keep on pushing for the championship down to the last race. So we just really actually got started testing the restricted plate yesterday. Most of the work has been done right now in the intake manifold, which is confusing to me because now the horsepower levels are up to where we were when we had the 1-inch plate. I'm not particularly for the idea of letting people work on the intake manifolds. I thought the idea of the 15/16 restrictor plate was to cut the speeds down. Now that people are doing all kinds of work to the intake, and the speeds are going right back up again. So it's just a game right now of who's got the most horsepower.
It's unreal how much work you put in for one particular race, and this race was my worst race last year, but heck, I won the championship without it. So it's not everything, but it is a lot.
Then I think it's important to point out that the teams are all working extremely hard for Daytona, but they're already testing at Richmond because the points count the same for every single race.
They certainly do, and it means that there's not room for error at any racetrack now, the way the competition is, if you're going to try to win the Winston Cup Championship. We need to take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk with Bobby Hillin, who will drive this Snickers Buick.
And take a look at some of the new cars for the 1990 season. We'll be right back.
Everybody's been able to see me learn from the time I was 17 years old. And once you win a race, nobody wants to help you. So once we won that race in '86, it became a lot tougher even to learn.
Your body can be trim, toned, firm, slim, fit, and in shape in just 8 weeks. Now there's the Sports Illustrated Super Shape Up program, fully sponsored by Diet Pepsi, the right one. A unique 3-stage video workout system designed by sports fitness experts to help lead you step by step to total fitness in only 8 weeks. Featuring Sports Illustrated swimsuit models Elle McPherson, Rachel Hunter, and Cheryl Teagues.
It combines stretching techniques, working out with weights,
and the latest in aerobic interval training.
Super Shape Up is more than just an exercise video. It's a complete fitness program that helps you get the body you want in only 8 weeks.
Begin with my video, Stretch and Strengthen. You'll start to feel stronger and more flexible in the very first week.
Stretch and Strengthen with Elle McPherson does just that. It helps make your body strong, supple, and fit enough for a more advanced workout.
Then you move up to my video, Body Sculpting. It really helps reshape your body.
Body Sculpting with Rachel Hunter tightens up those frustrating areas that don't go away, even when you lose weight.
Now you're ready for my video, Aerobic Interval Training. It's the advanced way to make your body burn calories more efficiently.
Aerobic Interval Training with Cheryl Teagues helps you slim down, even in those stubborn places where weight goes on first. You can start to get in shape in the privacy of your own home.
Just 8 weeks. The sooner you start, the sooner you get there.
Call now for the Super Shape Up program. You can use your credit card and you'll be billed in 3 easy monthly payments of $19.95 each. With your payment, you'll get these free hand weights just right for the program.
Come work out.
Keep eating right.
In 8 weeks, you can be there.
You get the complete Sports Illustrated Super Shape Up program, easy to follow instructions, and your free hand weights. So call now, because your body can be trim, toned, firm, slim, fit, and in shape in just 8 weeks.
We've been asked to say a few words about country music.
Excuse me, Jimmy, but this is a spot for the Nashville Network.
Well, what's the difference? Well, what's good for country music is good for TNN.
Well said.
Well, thank you.
Well, there's one thing we should mention.
Oh, yes. Pass the word about TNN.
Well said.
Well, thank you.
Coming up on Sports Sunday.
TNN Sports, pass the word.
Ned Bobby Hillin ran in his first Winston Cup race when he was still a high school senior. He won his first race in 1986, and it looked like the sky was the limit as far as his future was concerned, but in recent years, he hasn't done all that well.
Not nearly as well as he had expected to, but they're pumped up about 1990 with their new sponsor and the fact that the Stavola brothers are reducing from 2 teams to 1 team. They think that's going to make this team much stronger. Randy Pemberton talked to Bobby Hillin recently.
At the age of 25, Bobby Hillin is already a veteran of 176 starts on the Winston Cup circuit. His first came as a 17-year-old high school student from Texas. At the age of 22, he became the youngest ever to win a super speedway event when he tackled the Talladega 500 in 1986.
I've got to thank the Lord for bringing me so far in my career. My dad got me started, and then my granddad, who's here, funded me to get me started in Winston Cup racing, and then the Stavola brothers took over, and their whole family's been super to me, and we've had a hard time getting a team going. And
that was to be Hillin's last Victory Lane interview to date. After finishing 9th in Winston Cup points, the succeeding years since 1986 have been filled with mostly failures and frustration. Bobby was most often looked at as the other driver in a 2-car operation that touted the great Bobby Allison and, most recently, Rookie of the Year Dick Trickle. But with 1989 came new hope for Hillin. It came in the form of veteran chassis expert Harry Hyde. It's been a reacquaintance for the two, whom had worked together in Bobby's first days in the sport.
When he came to me, he said, "Look, you are my last hope." He really loaded me up. "You are my last hope. If you don't come and take care of me and build me a team, I've had it." So you can look into the 4th year there and you can say, well, what did it do to him? It just about put him out of business.
Well, that's it's kind of the way you have to look at it. You know, if you're not competing up front, you're not capable of attracting the sponsorship, you're going to get pushed out. And the sport is so competitive, and each person is out for their share. And when each person is trying to get their share, you know, if every piece of the pie is taken and there's nothing left, well, you know, that's it.
1989 brought only 1 top 5 finish for the team, but more importantly, with the end of the season came the end of the 2-car operation. Bobby has chalked it all up to experience.
I always thought that it would help immediately and hurt in the long run, and I think that's kind of what happened. You know, we won, both Allison and myself won a race our first year. And then after that, you know, he won a race the following year, but then it really wasn't much for either one of us, and it started to deteriorate, I guess, from that point. But, you know, I've been through a lot with the whole experience. I feel like it's taught me a lot that I'll be able to carry on the rest of my career. So, you know, in that aspect of it, I can look at it and say, you know, it's been good training for me.
Bobby's training doesn't stop with his racing experiences. He's probably the best all-around athlete in the sport today. He continuously pushes himself to the limit.
I play racquetball and do all the other things I do just so I'll have physical endurance, so that when it gets hot and, you know, we're in the 4th hour of Dover or Rockingham or whatever race we might be in, I'll be able to have a little bit extra to keep that intensity up to run each lap just as hard as that car can go.
It's a sacrifice he makes for his team and his good friend, Harry Hyde.
What does Harry Hyde mean to you personally, really, Bobby? I mean, it seems like, him, when he's talking about you, he's talking about like his son. I mean, do you look up to Harry in that way also?
I really do. I mean, I don't know how to describe it, but I feel like I've been blessed with the ability to really learn from him. And there's so many people that I think let their ego or let one thing or another get in the way of listening to a person that's got 30 years experience or 35 years experience, however much he's got. And so, therefore, maybe they haven't learned all they can learn from a guy like Harry Hyde. But when I think maybe part of it's the fact that I started with him, he said this and this and this and this. And I was 17 years old. And everything he said was true about the sport, about myself. You know, I mean, just everything he said was true. And so when you have an experience like that, you know, it's like growing up. When you're growing up, you think your parents can do no wrong. And that's the way I look at Harry Hyde.
All the knowledge that maybe all of us have, and we think it's all good and fine. And we have a bunch of iron hanging on the wall, and 3 months later turns into a beautiful car. But the last thing that you bolt into that car is the driver. You strap him in there, you put his window net up, and he's got his helmet on, and it's all left up to him. So if you don't love your driver, then you can't love your race car or the people working around or anything else. That driver is it.
Steve, when Harry Hyde came on as the crew chief for this team last year, he came into a situation of cars that they've been running for several years and not built exactly the way that he would like to have them. But now they have all new cars for 1990 built to Harry Hyde's specifications, so that should help.
And we'll soon see how it's going to work out. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll have information on how you can join our sports club and all the latest news. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the driver of the Country Time Maxwell House Pontiac, Michael Waltrip. Ladies and gentlemen.
Logan Pass, Montana and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. Logan Pass means trailblazing, exploring the wilderness of Glacier National Park. And Old Milwaukee means a great beer. Cold, crisp Old Milwaukee beer and smooth, golden Old Milwaukee Light.
There's nothing like the flavor of a special place, an Old Milwaukee beer.
Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light.
Guys, it just doesn't get any better than this.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the Goodyear Eagle line of high-performance street radials, the best-selling performance tires in the world. Goodyear Eagles, for the spirit of a champion that's in all of us.
Coming up on Sports Sunday, with Denver as their backdrop, Top Fuel and Funny Cars burn it up at the Mile High Nationals on American Sports Cavalcade. Then Performance Plus demos a new memory unit for tracking engine performance. What's it like on the NASCAR circuit? Inside Winston Cup Racing takes you to the action. And we'll go fishing with Bubba on Bill Dance Outdoors. All this Sunday on TNN.
TNN Sports, that's the word.
In the world's freest marketplace, your choices make all the difference. Buy American whenever you can.
Bring it home to the USA.
Next week here on Inside Winston Cup Racing, we'll take a look at how Winston Cup body men put the color into the sport as we show you how a Winston Cup race car is painted.
We'll also take you inside the garage area at the Daytona International Speedway, where the Ford teams are fine-tuning their T-Birds in preparation for the upcoming Daytona 500.
And we'll continue to keep you updated on all the latest news as teams continue to prepare for the 1990 Winston Cup season.
Well, Steve, since the last race of the 1989 season of Atlanta, Georgia, there's been a lot of changes made as far as drivers, sponsors, color schemes, and all of that. And it's going to be confusing to the fans in the early part of the season, so we're going to try to help them out a little bit.
And if you go to Daytona, buy a program because there are a lot of changes. And let's catch up on some of the new looks and teams for the 1990 season and the rest of the latest news. Michael Waltrip's car was unveiled at the Bahari Race Shop for members of the Charlotte Motor Speedway Media Tour. Country Time Lemonade will share equal billing on the Pontiacs with a new sponsor, Maxwell House Coffee. Rob Moroso showed off the new colors of his Crown Petroleum Oldsmobiles, and Terry Labonte will run the entire schedule for Richard Jackson in the Skull Classic-sponsored Oldsmobiles. Labonte will have the number 1 for the first time. Chad Little started the 1989 season running for rookie honors with owner Junie Donlevy. Sponsorship was never obtained and Little was released. Chad has landed Bullseye barbecue sauce and craft for the 1990 season.
I'm very pleased with the way things are going. Our goals fit right along with Kraft's goals for the 1990 season, and that being Bullseye. We wanted to run a limited schedule. The Kraft's goal was to build up their market share again in the Southeast and pinpoint 15 to 20 races that they wanted to do that with, and the goals kind of meshed in that sense.
Lake Speed, who carried the Bullseye colors last year, is still without a sponsor. Junie Donlevy has signed Ernie Irvin to run the full schedule, and they've obtained TrueCure adhesives as a sponsor. TrueCure will provide Donlevy with the most lucrative sponsorship he's had in 40 years of racing.
You know, the biggest problem is when you're low on funds is, your equipment gets old, you can't buy new wheels, you don't put on new tires every time. That's where this year we're going to be able to, have new tires on when we're running good and be able to have wheels, so you don't have wheel problem. The engines will be better because you have more money to spend on them. Everything should multiply with money, and hopefully the finishes from last year that I ran off a good in, hopefully we can multiply and even run better with Junie's car this year.
The King, Richard Petty, turned the fastest time of any Pontiacs in winter testing at Daytona in the recently concluded second session. The King was clocked at 193.590 miles per hour. Ned, Richard Petty said he was excited about the 1990 season, and I guess he just proved it.
Yes, he did. He ran the fastest speed of any of the Pontiac drivers during the January test and among the fastest of all the drivers down there. So look out. The King might win his 8th Daytona 500. Steve, we talked about all these teams that are set for 1990. There's a lot of things that are not settled yet, including sponsorship for Buddy Baker, David Pearson and Larry, Lake Speed, Dave Marcus, D.K. Ulrich, Dale Jarrett's not settled as far as the driver's concerned, so there are a lot of things yet to be settled.
Yeah, many guys who've been a fixture on the circuit for many years with things up in the air. Well, here's information on how you can join the Inside Winston Cup Racing Sports Club.
Join the club. For a limited time only, we're offering charter memberships in the Inside Winston Cup Racing Sports Club. As a charter member, you'll receive the exclusive Sports Club edition of the Inside Winston Cup Racing Bloops and Blunders tape. All Inside Winston Cup Racing Sports Club members will receive a membership certificate and card, a keychain with the 1990 Winston Cup schedule, an Inside Winston Cup Racing Sports Club decal, and autograph card. Join the club. Get on track. Get information on the drivers, racing events, and driving schools.
Steve, there have been 2 prominent driving schools in the past, Bob Bondurant and Steve, in the past we've talked about driving schools, the Bob Bondurant Driving School in California, the Buck Baker Driving School in North Carolina, and now there's another third. Steve, we talked about race driving schools, the Bob Bondurant School in California, the Buck Baker Driving School in North Carolina, and now there's another one, and my tongue won't work.
And remember, as a charter member, you'll receive this blooper tape and a quarterly newsletter. For more information on how to become a member of the Inside Winston Cup Racing Sports Club, call 1-800-692-7777. Join the club.
And if you want to get that blooper tape as part of the sports club, you better hurry and join because the charter memberships expire in just a few days.
And boy, that's one of the main parts of it. Well, our time's up for today. Hope you enjoyed the show and hope you'll be with us here next week.
And thanks for watching us here on TNN.
Today's show has been brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer, winning the world over with 1990 trucks that are built Ford tough. And by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. And by Goodyear Eagle Tires. Goodyear, because there really is a difference. Inside Winston Cup clothing is provided by Sports Image Incorporated, suppliers of quality racing apparel. Communications for Inside Winston Cup Racing crew provided by Racing Radios, Forest Park, Georgia, the official communications of NASCAR. Ground transportation for the crew of Inside Winston Cup Racing is provided by Fleetwood Enterprises, makers of this 34-foot Pace Arrow motorhome and a full line of other excellent recreational vehicles.
From the rising stars to the legendary giants, you'll find them all on TNN's new 3-hour show, Video Morning. Hosted by personalities Katie Haas and Al Winter, you'll get a look at the latest videos, country classics, plus music news, trends, weather, and more. It's entertaining, topical, and it's live. Video Morning, a great way to start your day. Weekdays, 9 to noon Eastern on the Nashville Network. Pass the word.
Homeowners, stop struggling with ugly piles of leaves and brush that ruin the good looks of your place. Instead, with the amazing Troy-built Tomahawk Chipper Shredder. In just minutes, you can turn enormous piles of brush like this into mountains of useful wood chips and mulch. Tomahawk's 2 machines in 1 design makes it easy. First, it's an efficient shredder that turns useless brush, fallen branches, even prunings and vines into instant wood chips and mulch. Second, it's a powerful chipper that turns branches up to 3 inches thick into landscape chips in seconds. And you can use all the wonderful mulch and chips to keep weeds down and beautify your property too. So if you'd like to clean up your whole property the fast, easy Tomahawk way, call toll-free 1-800-843-4700 for complete details on our whole lineup of Troy-built Tomahawk Chipper Shredders. That's 1-800-843-4700. There is no obligation, so call today.
They are superstars, the Oak Ridge Boys, on stage Tuesdays.
What's the attraction of speed? You know, that's something I've often wondered about. Maybe it's the feeling of freedom that you get. Or maybe it's just the kick in the pants feeling of acceleration. Hi, I'm Dan Pastorini, and welcome